Hi, everybody.
Good morning. Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Hi to all of our e-kids. We sure do miss you. So we thought maybe we could take a little time and read a story together from the Bible and just say hi. So if you are watching, if any of my kiddos are watching, I would love to have you or your grown-up say hi in the comment box. We'd love to say hi to you as well. And we're just going to read a little story together. And I have a couple questions at the end that you'll get a chance to answer. Yeah, we're going to show the pictures at the end. Okay. Oh, you want to give a little sneak peek? Okay. All right. So Chase and Isaiah are going to help me with our story today. We are actually, let's put these down. That's so helpful. Thank you. We're going to put these down until the end. We're actually reading from the Bible app for kids on our iPad today. So if you would like to follow along, we're going with the very first story in the Bible app for kids called In the Beginning. And I see lots of people saying good morning. We're so glad that you're with us. Happy Mother's Day. I can't remember. Yeah, happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all of our ladies that love with a mother's heart. Yeah, and if you're sitting near your mom or your grandma or your aunt or whoever it is, your special person that takes care of you, make sure you get. Yeah. Yeah, well, we're not sitting next to our aunt today, but make sure you give the special person who takes care of you lots of love and hugs and kisses and help today. So, good morning. We say good morning from Avi and Reagan. Happy Mother's Day. Father's Day is coming up, but today's Mother's Day. Yeah. All right, so we're going to read our story today, which is called In the Beginning, and you can follow along on the Bible app for kids if you would like, because you can't see us that well on my iPad on your screen, I don't think. But in the story today, it's the very first one, and it comes from the beginning of the Bible, the first chapter of the Bible. If you know what the very first chapter of the Bible is, you can type it in the comments, or you can get mom and dad to type it in the comments, or your person who's helping you today. Jace, you know what it is?
Yep.
What is it?
Genesis.
That is absolutely right. Very good. So we're going to go ahead and start, and Chase and Isaiah are going to give me a little bit of help, and you can do these motions along with us too.
Help you.
You're going to help me? Thank you.
She's going to help you.
Chase,
it's going to help.
Oh, thank you. I love it. So we're going to read about what happened on each day that God took to create the earth. And at the end of the page, it tells us day one done. So you guys can do that with us. Let's practice day one done, okay? Day one done. And then when we talk about day two, we're going to say day two done.
Day two done.
Exactly right. Very good. And then we're going to say all the way. This is why I kind of need the boys to help me, because I'm holding this. So once we get to day six, we're going to need two hands, and I only have one free. So day six done.
And it also says day 7
done. So you can do those motions along with us.
7 done.
Done. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so let's get started reading. Oh, I'm going to come right here and then press read.
And press read?
Yeah, I already did it, so you don't have to this time. Maybe next time. And it says, we live in a beautiful world. Just look at the amazing things around you. Let's go back to the beginning and see what the Bible tells us about how it all began. And if you pay attention, you're going to know all the answers to my questions by the end of the story. Okay, so there's the pictures. I see you, yeah. Okay, are we ready to hear what happened on day one?
Yep.
Okay. In the beginning, God made the heavens and the earth. God moved over the darkness and said, light. He called the light day, and he called the darkness night. Okay, you ready to do the hand motions with us? Day one done.
And if you
Oh, yeah, you can do this, and there's little activities after you read the page.
Help.
For each thing, there's little activities that you can do on the Bible app for kids. And this one actually, well,
Light to dark.
Light to dark, that's right. Okay, God, then God, yeah, in just a minute, Mommy's gonna read it first.
I have it.
You can look at your iPad, okay? You wanna go look
The
at
clouds.
Look at the clouds, that's right, because we're talking about
The clouds on an
You
iPad.
can, yes, you wanna go, look, why don't you go right over there and do it on your iPad, okay?
There are clouds on
Daddy's gonna help you.
Now people can finally see me because I was pushed up against here and I
Okay, well, I'm glad because that is what it's all about, right? Okay. Then God made a space to separate the waters above from the waters below. He called the space sky. All right, so this is day 2. We're going to do our hand motions together, right? Day 2, done. God gathered the waters together, and dry ground appeared. He called the ground land, and the waters seas. Then he made plants like grass, grain, and trees. So this is day 3 done.
Can I see a little?
Yeah, go ahead. You can see a
Bubble.
little. Yep, a little think bubble. You got to come over here. And it's nice. It asks you a question. It says, what did God make on day 1? And it gives you some little choices. So which one, Chase? 1, 2, or 3? What did he make on day 1?
1.
That's exactly right. Very good. Then God made lights in the sky. He made the sun for the day, the moon for the night, and all the stars. Day 4 done. And this one is one of my very favorite pictures in this story because is this the one where it goes through all the planets? It's really cool.
And the asteroid belt,
Yeah.
Mercury and Jupiter with all its 50 sun moons.
So that's a super fun page, I think. God made fish to swim in the waters and birds to fly in the sky. Have babies, he told them. Fill the world with splashing and singing. So this was day 5 done. Next, God made animals. He made farm animals, wild animals, and animals that crawl on the ground. Just one more thing to make, God said, the most special thing of all. You can take a look here. All the different...
Diamond!
Oh, yes. And you can, as you go through these Bible stories, there are things to collect, these little Bible gems. So this one, you found a Bible gem, and you find them as you go through the different stories.
And I know what he created next.
You do? I bet you do. Let's see. I bet some of you know what he created next, too. So, in his image, God, I see you. God made man and woman. Have babies he had. He said, take charge of the world. Care for the fish, the birds, and the animals. Here's where I really need your help because I can't.
Day 6. Done.
Done. Let's try it again so we can all do it together. Ready? Day 6. Done. Great job. Done. Yay, good job. What was it? Oh, you wanted to see the pictures?
No. Think bubble.
Oh, a think bubble. You want to read it?
Were the animals the most special thing God made? No.
No. What were the most special thing God made?
Humans.
Humans. That's exactly right.
Mom, wait, there is a world.
Then God.
No.
Here. Okay. Come on. I know. There we go. Now we can see you. Then God looked at everything he had made. It's very good, he said. So on the 7th day, he rested and made that day special. So we're day 7 done. And here's the the question at the end. Chase, you're going to have to read it because it's hard to see. What's it say?
God was pleased with his creation, and he rested on the seventh day.
True or false?
True.
True. Yep. All right. Great. I hope you were able to follow along. And I told you last week we're going to do this. So I have a couple questions for you. I'm going to show you. And you can, and I'm going to show you my email address too. So this week, you can answer those questions and you can email me. And if you get all of the questions right, we will send you a surprise treat in the mail, okay? So here's the first thing. Oh, you know what? I didn't, whoops, it's upside down.
It's upside down.
We're going to start with an easy one, and we're going to give
created the world?
Okay, who created the world?
Even Isaiah probably knows that.
Okay, okay, thank you. I'm going to give you this one, Isaiah. Whoa, give you this one. Here you go, hold that one while Mommy shows the next one. Upside down again. What did God create on the fourth day? And if you look carefully, I gave you a clue for the first question. Thank you, Isaiah. And, whoops.
A werewolf.
Can you hold this one up now? What did God do on the, oops, hold it up just a little more so everybody can see it. What did God do on the seventh day?
I'll give you a hint.
Okay. Okay, give us a hint. Thank you. So you can, here we go, Isaiah, you want to hold this one up for me? Here is my email address, knauer@echo.church. Well, I can maybe type this in the comments after I'm done. Oh, it's in the comments already. Yay! So here's my email address. You can email me the answers. Help get your mom, your dad, or whoever is your grown-up to help you. Thank you. To email, you can take a video of you answering the questions, or you can draw me a picture of your answers, and you can email those to me. And if you get them all right, I will send you a treat, a special prize in the mail. So we are looking forward to hearing from you very much. And also make sure you take a look in the comments today, because all the links for our kids' resources will be there as well. So we are going to get ready to say goodbye. And we're going to exit stage left here. And Pastor Phil is going to come sit down and talk with you for a little while. So just come this way because there's a wire right there. Okay. Bye. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day. Mom, Isaiah.
I know. I see Isaiah. Okay.
Let's go downstairs, buddy.
Okay.
Thank you. Want to go downstairs?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, so this is going to be a letdown compared to everything else. I cannot hold a candle to them. I think those three have got a new job of hosting Echo Live every single week from here until when we meet together. So that's my wife and my two boys. And next Sunday, 9:50, Kendra and the boys, or Kendra and whoever is up to being on the screen, will be back with you next Sunday. I'm sorry. How did you escape the basement? Did you escape the basement? Who's this? Can you say see you later to everybody?
See you later, everybody.
Go downstairs?
Yeah.
Okay. See you in a few minutes, okay? See you in a few minutes. It's Mother's Day, so they've been up early making breakfast, aka trying to spread cream cheese on the bagel. And Isaiah has discovered he likes cream cheese, not bagels and cream cheese, just cream cheese. So he ate an entire one of those like single serving Panera Bread cream cheese things, just straight up cream cheese. So, dad to the win today. But we're glad you are with us this morning. Welcome to Echo Live. Would love to. I've already been in the comments this morning, so I know a lot of you kind of know the drill. But if you're new to us, just let us know who's watching with you. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms. We're celebrating moms and all of our women today. We celebrate you every day, but today especially is all about you gals. And we are so thankful that each and every one of you are in our lives. We are so thankful for your strength and your creativity and your compassion and your tenderness and your leadership and your friendship. We're just so thankful for each and every one of you today, and I hope you'll receive that as part of our honoring you. And if you should have received from our team an email this week, all the ladies in our Echo family that are on our mailing list that we have a good email for, should have received an e-gift to go have a coffee break on us. If you didn't receive that, please email us and let us know, and we'll figure out how to get that to you. info@echochurchmd.com, and we'll put that in the comments too. So type in the comments who's watching with us this morning. And my question of the day is just simply this. I would like to know one thing you learned from your mom that's still part of how you live today. So something you got from mom that's still part of the way you live today. So like one nugget or one practice or one just something that that your mom taught you or gave to you that's still part of how you live today. And for me, I could make a long list. Like literally, I learned how to wash clothes. I learned how to fold clothes. I learned how to clean stuff the right way. Learned how to make my bed. So many different things. One of the things I think I learned from, I mean, there's so many. And my mom, huge spiritual influence on my life. Both my parents, big spiritual influences on my life. My mom taught me a lot about prayer. Not so much like sitting down and saying, this is how you pray, but my mom just was an example of prayer. Like I think all of my siblings and my dad would tell you that mom was, we had a rocking chair in our house, and my mom, growing up, she was a nurse, and she worked like the night shift, and so she was usually gone in the evenings and slept during the day. But so we didn't always cross paths, but when we did, one of my best memories of childhood is just almost every day you'd see mom rocking in a rocking chair, and her lips would be moving quietly, and she would just be talking to God. And just what a huge example it was to me that prayer is something that can happen anytime, anywhere, all the time. And it taught me that prayer isn't just like this isolated little segment of my life. But that's one thing. I find myself doing the same thing. I don't have a rocking chair, but I find myself walking around the house sometimes, and my lips are moving, and just talking to God and knowing that he's there. And so that's a huge part of my life that I attribute to. I mean, both my parents have been big spiritual influences on me, but I think especially about prayer, I learned a lot about that from my mom, just her in that rocking chair, rocking back and forth, praying over us, praying over our church, our family. Huge part of my life I'm very thankful for. I'm going to hop into the comments and see if any of you guys talk. Hey, my parents are watching today. Happy Mother's Day, Mom. We're going to make sure that the boys hop on and call you later. I know, so for the grandmas, I know it's tough during quarantine time because many of you can't be physically with your kids today. And so for those of you whose mom is still around and you can't be with her physically today, make sure you call or text her if she has the capability of doing like a video chat kind of a thing. Make sure that they can at least see you. That's a big deal. That's a big deal to them, and that would be huge. So Mom, I'm gonna make sure the boys hop on there with you this afternoon. They're really wired and looking forward to talking to you today. Dina says one of the things she learned from her mom is a quote that says, if you don't have a nice thing to say, then don't say anything. I think that's great advice for anybody. Charmaine says she learned kindness from her mom. That is really a great heritage. And Charmaine if you know Charmaine, she's an extremely kind woman. Tammy says she learned from her mom the importance of punctuality, being on time. Tammy, I would like your mom to do a class with certain people that I know, and you probably know too, that didn't have that same thing built into their lives. Kara says, my mom lets things roll off her back and isn't easily bothered, and I'm still to this day trying to emulate that. Yeah, that's a great quality, just kind of the stick-to-itiveness and the being resilient, things like that. Monica says she learned kindness from her mom. My sister, Stephanie's on here. Happy Mother's Day to you, sis. My sister has 5 awesome kids of her own and is a rock star of a mom. She says prayer on the rocking chair moves mountains. You're 100% on that, Steph, 100%. Kathy Kioe says, my mom taught me how to cook and to always have faith during tough times. I'm loving reading this. I'm learning so much about each one of you through the heritage that was passed to you from your moms. And also, this is a great thing for young moms and new moms. Listen, I know a lot of you share with me that sometimes, especially right now, you feel like the view of your own motherhood, you're really hard on yourself. And I want you to see your kids absolutely pick up on stuff. I mean, look at all the stuff that's being written in the comments about the influence of moms. Even if your kids don't know how to verbalize what they're picking up, it really is making a huge difference. Pastor James says his mom taught him how to teach. So next time you see Pastor James's mom, say thank you, because all of us have benefited from Pastor James's teaching. I call him the Alton Brown of theology. And if you've ever heard him teach, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Amazing, gifted teacher. His mom, he says, he credits her for having a huge role in that. Ben Ferguson, his mom taught him the importance of giving. And Ben, you and I both know your mom, she went home to be with the Lord not too long ago. Your mom, Miss Eugenia, her giving, that was the thing she could do when her health was failing. I'm telling you, she gave, I forget what Ben told me, I think sometimes up to 40% of her income she gave to Echo. You know, just an amazing heritage she passed on to Ben, and that Ben's passing on to Aiden and Gabe. Monica says, my mom's always on time. I just didn't pick up the habit. Kathy Sexton says how important family is even when they're far away. Oh, I like this one. Kate Schaefer says, where do you have to share a food item? One person cuts off, the other person picks. Let me tell you how to cut it fairly. That's pretty cool. So Kate's mom taught them how to share food at the dinner table and how to make that. Yeah, and I'm sure my brother and my sister could tell stories. I joke with my boys a lot about how much my brother and I used to eat, and my mom would tell us how many, I would be embarrassed to admit it, how many, when they'd buy like quarter-pound hamburgers to make on the grill, I think my brother and I at times would go through like 3 or 4 each at one sitting. My poor sister, I don't know how she survived because we were pretty aggressive. You know, and Dad would be working late a lot of times, and wouldn't, you know, there would be very little left for him when my brother and I ate. So we needed to learn better about how to share food. I think we've gotten there at this point in our lives. This is great, and I always go back through these comments later on in the afternoon and read through. And you know, as a pastor, I really miss being able to see you guys and just the chit chat and the small talk on Sundays. That's how I get to know more about your lives and understand the people that I have the privilege of leading and serving. So when you hop in these comments and just those little things you share about themselves, it's golden for us. And it makes me look forward to hopefully someday not too long from now when we can be back together physically in some shape or form. As you know, it's not going to be like all of a sudden Governor Hogan's going to make an announcement one week that quarantine is over and we're going to come out from our bunkers and it's going to be life as usual. It's going to be incrementally ramping back up. The first thing that he'll allow religious groups to do is meet together in outdoor services. And I have as many questions about that as you do, what that means, and then where and how and if we can pull that off, you know, because you know, obviously we can't use the school for that because schools are closed, but we do have a space we're leasing now at 5020 Campbell Boulevard, and our new ministry center, some of you saw the video, is really coming together. So I don't know what we would be allowed to do there, but you know, what I'm saying is, over the next few months, we're going to be getting back together in some shape or form, having the small talk. But this helps for now, and so I appreciate you guys sharing everything in the comments for us. And while we're on the topic, I was going to say this for later, but I want to bring you a great report from our facility vision team. This group of men and women, as you know, have been working. I think they initially signed up for a 2-year commitment, and we're now going on like year 4 of this. But yesterday, for the first time, a group of about 20 of our leaders and directors and pastors were invited by our facility vision team to actually go on site at 5020 Campbell Boulevard at Echo's new ministry center to see how the construction is coming along. And I had realistic expectations, and it blew me away. If you've ever driven by that property, I know from the outside, it doesn't look like it's going to be big enough, right? Because it looks like an office building, like you walk into a doctor's office from the outside. The outside in no way, shape, or form prepares you adequately for what you experience when you walk on the inside. The way our team has designed this space. It's 3 connecting suites that we've gotten permission from the county and the landlord to convert into one large cohesive space. And when I walked inside the door, I was like, wow, this is so much bigger than what I imagined. Like, you walk into the foyer and it just opens up and it's wide. And even though there's not sheetrock on the wall and the new flooring's not in yet, you can already be like, man, we're gonna have plenty of space to actually linger after service and talk without having to dodge moving carts or feel bad that you're not pushing one. Like, it is so cool to be able to see, and then to walk into what was formerly like a storage area and then see how they've opened it up and built this really tall, bright, wide, warm sanctuary. Pastor Keith was there, our worship leader was there yesterday. Keith Dixon was there and was able to walk through there. And I said to Keith, I said, do you think you can fill this place with a lot of sound? He goes, I'm going to do everything humanly possible to make that happen. So offices are coming together well. And then walking through all of the new thoughtful spaces we've designed for families and for children. We've got what's called like a quiet room, which is not really a quiet room, or a cry room. That's actually much bigger than I was expecting. And those of you that don't know what that is, there's a space where parents with littles, if your child isn't feeling like going to the nursery today or preschool, or you just want to keep them with you, there's now going to be a special room that you can sit in right next to the sanctuary, where you can sit, and there'll be glass there. It's soundproof room where you can sit and be part of the service with your kids without feeling uncomfortable about if they're making noise or whatever. And the bottom line is, kids are going to make noise. And, our church is not about trying to distract your kids or entertain them. They're part of our church. And so, in fact, for the first few weeks, probably for a little while after we reopen, entire families are going to be together in church. We're not going to be able to start by having, with all the regulations and the social distancing that we're still going to keep in place. Even when we start having regular church gatherings again, it's not going to be the way that it was back before the quarantine. There's still going to be some things we have to adhere to keep you safe and to make it a good space. And we're looking forward to this awesome opportunity of having kids and teenagers with us in the service because they're part of our church. And so this is a great opportunity for us to learn some new things about how to have family worship together. What a great way for us to practice all of that together at one time. Then we were taken down the hallway to where all the new kids and youth spaces are. And we've got top-notch infant care rooms. We have a special area now with two rooms where moms who need to give special care or feed their kids can do so, with TV screens that'll pump the service in there that's nice and private and comfortable. We've got a huge nursery for the little ones. We've got now a preschool classroom that's huge. We have a toddler's room. We actually have 3 spaces now for our pre-K kids. So kids from nursery up to age 4 have 3 environments instead of 2. We've got a special room dedicated for 5th and 6th grade students, and then also for the well. And then we have a huge room for e-kids behind there's a big checkout area that has a countertop with all the computer screens to check in your kids. There's double doors there that we can have access control, so that behind, you'll check your kids in, you'll go through the double doors that are secure, and then that entire wing is nothing but stuff for kids with all kinds of creative environments. And so they were working through yesterday, where are we hanging screens and putting all the technology, where are we going to put all the technology packages in there, making sure all the furnishings are going to fit, bathrooms are getting ready to be installed. It's an awesome space. And so thanks to your generosity, this phase 1 is going to be done completely in cash. We don't have to borrow a penny for it. It's all coming through voluntary contributions through people like you. And so we're so thankful for that. We're going to put in a partial technology package, a partial furnishings package, but finish all of the construction. There's an additional $50,000 to $75,000 that we're collecting right now. I mean, people are still giving, so it's still coming in there to finish out. Like, for example, we want to put a really nice lighted sign on the front of the building. We want to be able to finish out the furniture for the offices, and then there's some technology. We want to be able to put in a new soundboard and a permanent sound system in the sanctuary, rather than reusing ours, and putting in the camera and lighting packages to be able to do live camera. And just a plug right now, those of you that have ever wanted to learn how to run cameras and help us with that, that you like doing live video editing and mixing those things and live streaming, we're going to be adding all of that to what we do on Sunday mornings, which is at a different level than what we're doing right now, rather than just streaming through an iPhone. We're going to be able to do that on a much better scale because we'll have the lighting to do it. So if there's ever been an itch you want to scratch to serve in the tech area, that's there for you. We'll be talking more about that as we get back together. But some of the things about the timeline are just inexact. But the good news is that this project is absolutely moving full steam ahead, and we're hoping that project gets finished up by July 4th weekend. So and then from there moving forward, we're going to over communicate to you what services will look like. It'll probably be in stages by what the state will let us do, what we're going to be doing during the stage when Governor Hogan lets us meet outdoors. I don't have an answer for that yet, just trying to wait until he tells us what we're allowed to do, the box to play in, and then we'll have to do some checking and investigation, but we'll figure that all out together. I also realize not everybody's going to be rushing to be back inside a confined space with a bunch of other people. So for a little while, it's going to look a little bit different on Sunday, but I am not dreading that. I'm looking forward to the opportunity. What an awesome opportunity to learn how to worship together as a family. I'm really looking forward to that because, that's one good thing we could bring out of this quarantine time is that, and here's how, it's going to be fun to worship with kids and fun to worship with elementary kids. And I'm looking forward to I love being around the well. And they might not love being around me because Cool left me a long time ago. I love being around our middle school students and our high school students. They're just some of the coolest people I've ever run into. And we've got some amazing young people and an incredible youth pastor and Pastor Zach and an awesome kids team with Kendra and Kara and Laura. And I'm Lauren, and I'm looking forward to having that whole group together with us on Sunday mornings and seeing what God does as we move forward together. So I could talk about it all day, and I've kind of talked about it almost through most of my time. I do want to share a short devotion / message with you this morning. After the message today, just want to give you a heads up, at 11 o'clock, our prayer team is available to connect with you personally and pray with you about anything at all that's going on in your life, and all of the information for how to connect with them will be in the Zoom comments. So look for that when we're all done. So they'll be here at 11. And just a quick reminder, if you're joining us next Sunday, again at 9:50, we're going to have, Kendra's going to be here to do some fun stuff with the kids. It's kind of getting us used to how church is going to be for a little while, where we all get to be part of having, learning from what the kids are talking about. So she'll be here at 9:50 next Sunday morning. If you missed the kids lesson today, no worries. Once this video is done, it is archived on all of our different platforms, and you can go back and watch it from the beginning to the end with your little ones, because there's some trivia questions at the end where if they answer those questions correctly, you can help them email the answers to Kendra, and every correct answer that we get something sent to them in the mail this week. It's just a way, we want your kids to know we're thinking about them and we're praying for them. And moms and dads, you're working on overdrive right now to hold things down. And so anything that we can do to not overwhelm you and give you one more thing to do, but just to come alongside you and help you lead your home spiritually, whatever we can do to help you, we are on board for it. If you go onto our website and you dig around long enough, I don't know if all of you have done this, you can find out some things about who we are as a church. And one of the things you can find is a list of our values. And values are really the foundation and the core of what any family, any organization, any group are all about. Not every organization has theirs listed out, and some of the organizations that list out their values don't live by them, but we've tried really hard to live according to the values that we list on our website. And one of those values that we have is the word honor. And that's what I want to talk to you about this morning, because you've probably already heard me say today is a day where we honor mothers, we honor women, we celebrate everybody who loves with a mother's heart. And I had to go back and think, and this is a good thing to do, I had to think again about what that word honor really means. And if you didn't know anything about being a Christian, and you just said, you know what, I'm going to start with their book, I'm going to start with the Bible, and I'm going to begin at Genesis, and I'm going to read through the end of Revelation, and I'm going to just write down notes. I'm going to take notes about what God says one of his kids is supposed to be, what God says a Christian's supposed to do. One word that would come up very near the top of the list that you'd see over and over and over is the word honor. And honor is a noun and it's a verb. In other words, it's a thing, it's an idea, but it's also an action or an activity. And when you read through the Bible over and over and over again, I was shocked when I went back through and started studying this last week. I was shocked by how many times God says, kids, I want you to honor this person. I want you to honor this group. I want you to honor that role or that relationship. Honoring is something God commands his kids to do. But the Bible also, by implication, then shows us that honor is something that each of us is wired to need to a certain degree. So in other words, honor kind of works a little bit like oxygen. It's something we get and something we give. You know, it's something we need to live, but it's something other people need as well. Honor, let me just refer to my notes so I stay on topic. Honor actually means to hold someone in high esteem, or to give somebody a huge amount of respect in your heart, to show great respect. So as a noun, it means great respect or high esteem. And the verb form, it means to give somebody great respect, to show somebody admiration or high esteem. And what the Bible shows us is that we do two things. You know, God's people are supposed to give honor where honor is due, and God's people should also expect to and need to receive honor. The reason God asks us to give other people honor is because it does something in my heart when I honor someone, and it does something in their heart when I honor someone. I just wrote down a few of these things the Bible says about honor. You've probably heard some. Let me just read through them quickly. Romans 12:10, be devoted to one another in love, and listen, honor one another above yourselves. So God's kids are supposed to honor each other brothers and sisters in Christ, even above themselves. 1 Timothy 5:17 says, the leaders who direct the affairs of the church well are worthy of double honor, especially those whose work is preaching and teaching. So the Bible says we're supposed to honor the people who lead the church, and the people who do the preaching and teaching are worthy of double honor. Romans 13:7, listen to this verse. This verse blew me away. I've read it before, but I never caught this. Give to everybody what you owe them. Now we understand that financially. In other words, if I borrow money from a bank or from an individual or from an institution, the right biblical Christian thing to do is give people what I owe them. Whenever I borrow from somebody, a debt is created, and it's right and proper for me to pay that back. Listen to this. If you owe taxes, pay taxes. I know that's a popular one today, right? If you owe taxes, pay taxes. If you owe revenue, then revenue. Now listen to these two though. Listen to this. If you owe someone respect, give them respect. If you owe them honor, give them honor. Did you ever catch that? You and I, the Bible says you and I actually owe certain people respect, and we owe them honor. In other words, honor is not optional. Honoring the people that the Bible says we ought to honor is expected, and when we withhold the honor or respect from people who deserve it from us, it's like we are leaving an unpaid debt, and that is a sin that God puts on our account. So, you know, how seriously God takes this idea of us giving honor to people. It's huge. It's huge. Hebrews 13:4. Marriage should be honored by everybody, both those who are in marriage and not people who are not married. And there's a lot more that he says there that I'll leave for another sermon. Ephesians 6:1-3 is probably the one that came to your mind pretty quickly. Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and mother, which is the first commandment with the promise. And there's lots of jokes about this next verse, that it may go well with you and you may enjoy a long life on the earth. And I've always heard, yeah, if you want to shorten your life, just respect your mama, right? But the truth of the matter is that the origin of this idea of Mother's Day really is birthed in a biblical concept, and that it's appropriate for us to honor moms, not just one day, that our life should honor our mothers. Our life should honor our parents. Hebrews 13:18 is one, though, that I think needs to keep this all in balance. Pray for us. We are sure that we have a clear conscience and we desire to live honorably in every way. So this flips it a little bit, and I'll come back to that in just a second. The Bible says it's not only important to give honor, but to live honorably. We'll come back to that. So what does this all tell us? God expects Christians to honor certain groups of people in your life. Honor fathers, mothers. We're supposed to honor one another. We're supposed to honor our leaders who preach and teach to us. We're supposed to honor the institution of marriage. And above all else, we honor God. Second thing we've learned here is if we withhold honor from those who deserve it, we become debtors to them. we owe them. We deprive them of the honor God designed them to need. And we deprive ourselves of the satisfaction and the peace from being obedient to that and giving expression to the respect and the honor that should be deep inside of our hearts. God also expects Christians to live honorably. Now, how can I tie this all together? Let me use Jesus as a quick example here. Jesus gives us an example of how he honored his mom. And it comes at a story that really it probably isn't the best Mother's Day passage, but I want to give it a Mother's Day. I want to look at it through a Mother's Day lens. John chapter 19, verse 25. Listen to this. Near the cross. Now, and I hope some of you old school hymn lovers, Near the Cross, one of my favorite hymns of all time, okay? Near the cross of Jesus stood his mother. Now, I'm not going to take off and go on a rabbit trail on this, but if you want to come back to a Bible study this week, that's very sobering. I can't identify this as a dad and as a male. Near the cross of her dying son stood his mom. Some of you have painful stories to tell about what it's like as a mom to have to bury a child. And there is no parent has a capacity for that. And I want you to think about the love and the hurt of a mom being near her son as he literally is dying. Near the cross of Jesus stood his mother's sister, Mary, the wife of Clopas, and Mary Magdalene. So there's one other person there we're going to see in a second, and that is John. So, the question is, where are Jesus's closest associates and friends and mentees when he's in his darkest hour? Most of them had scattered, but 5 of them remain, and 80% of Jesus's closest people in his life who stuck with him to the end, 80% of the people closest to Jesus at his death were women. Now, what does that say to you? 4 out of the 5 people, brave enough, courageous enough, compassionate enough, loving enough to be near Christ in his dying moments, 80% of them are women. That's a huge statement about the devotion of his mom, his aunt, 2 other ladies, Mary, the 2 other Marys that were there, their devotion to Christ, how close, women were a huge part of the close following of Jesus. He had female disciples. And seeing them this close to Christ is a very gripping picture. Verse 26, when Jesus saw his mother there and the disciple whom he loved, that's John, we believe, standing nearby, he said to her, "Woman, here is your son," referring to John. And to the disciple, he says, "Here's your mother." From that time on, this disciple took her into his home. Now, there's a lot going on here that probably would be better represented visually if we could go back and actually watch this and hear this. A couple things to point out. Some people think, when he calls his mom woman instead of mom, he's being offensive. Well, maybe in today's culture, but 2,000 years ago, that wasn't offensive at all. In no way it was a term of respect. But there's something going on here. He's really, he had a twofold identity to his mom. And when he addresses her as woman, he's speaking respectfully, but he's speaking to her as her savior. But he's also speaking to her as her son. So he doesn't say, "Mom, here's your son." He says, "Woman." He's speaking as the savior, but with a son's heart, if you can capture that there. The indication of what's happening here is that Jesus, one of the last things he did before his death is he takes care of his mom. He's on the cross dying for all of humankind, and he's very aware of that. And simultaneously, he's very aware of his mom. How did he honor his mom here? And there's some great lessons in here for us. Even in his struggles, in his busyness is not the right word. If anybody in all of history could get a free pass on saying that they were too busy and preoccupied with their own struggles to honor somebody they needed to honor, Jesus would have fit the bill. But yet, even as he's dying, Jesus still does a couple things. He remembered, he saw, and he identified. Here's how he honored his mom. He remembered her, it says. He saw his mom, and he remembers she's a widow. Dad's nowhere on the scene anymore. Jesus and his siblings were taking care of her, and he was the firstborn of their family, and so it was up to him to make sure mom was taken care of. If you were a widow back in the day, it was not good for you. This was not in a day when women could go out and get jobs. if your in-laws didn't take you in, you were pretty much on your own. No one would remarry you, and she would not be in good shape. And he makes sure that she's being taken care of. And so he says to the Apostle John, I want you to take care of my mom as though you were her son. And he looks at his mom and says, John's going to take care of you just the same way, if not better than I would in it. And really what theologians who have studied this passage say, it says from that point on, John took her home. What it really means is that he removed her from the scene at that point and takes her home. At that point is what a lot of theologians believe actually happened here. So he remembered her. Even in the midst of everything else, he put himself in his mom's shoes and says, what does she need right now? She's a widow. This must be incredibly difficult for her to watch me. I know, and Jesus knew what was coming. She's seen enough. I don't want her to have to be alone in this. And he sees the tender care and the strong and gentle love of a mom being poured out on him. Everybody else flee. And it must be so difficult for mom to see me in this. And what does she need right now? And a great way to honor your mom is to remember, what does she need today? What's she feeling right now? What would she want to hear from me as her son? What does she need to know from me? And doing everything that we can to make sure that the special women in our life, no, we've taken time to remember them. We didn't need to be reminded. No one needed to come up to Jesus and tug on him on the cross and say, Jesus, before you die, you haven't finalized the will yet. Who's going to take care of mom? He remembered her. And what a statement that must have been to her as her Savior and her son. He saw her in her grief, it says. He looked at her and he saw her in her grief. And then he identified with her. A great way to learn how to honor the special women in your life is to the best degree. You can't put yourself in their shoes for a second and say, if I were her, what would I need to hear today? What am I probably feeling right now? What are they going through in life? What are the things that are music to their ears? What are the things that would light them up and build them up to hear from me? Jesus put himself in the shoes of his mother for a moment, and even his grief, he was able to do things. His love, his honor, his sympathy, his compassion, even in his struggle, still wells up and overflows towards his mother and all of womankind. Think about the statement that was to the other women who were there too, to his aunt, to Mary, the wife of Clopas, to Mary Magdalene, that Jesus in his grief stops and he addresses and he affirms. And here's the thing about honor. I love it. Well, how do I honor my wife better? Listen, the bottom line is when it's in your heart, it's going to find a way out. When you deeply love somebody, when you deeply, truly, sincerely honor somebody, it will find an outlet. The problem I find in most people's relationships when honor, love, and respect is not being exchanged, the ugly truth is that in one of the parties, it's not there. There's not a deep respect that's bubbling out. There's not a deep honor, a deep love that's bubbling out. And so if there are actions, they're not sincere. They're forced. They're self-motivated. There's all kinds of other things at play, and even if you're saying the right things, thinking the right things, doing the right things, it's not landing because it's not coming from a place of sincerity. But look at Jesus. Here is someone who loved and loved and loved, and even in death, that love found a way to spill out. And so, the best way that you can get on track to doing a better job of honoring, respecting, and loving the people in your life and deserve it is to go into your heart and fuel that fire of love, respect, and honor you have for them. Because when you deeply love your wife, when you deeply love your mom, when you deeply love a friend, when you deeply love the Lord, when you learn to just deeply, deeply love them, those feelings won't be able to be constrained. They're going to find a way out. And then as they find their way out, then you learn, okay, this is the way that it comes out of me. It comes out in my words. It comes out in my acts of service. It comes out in something that I write. It comes out in something that I do. And then you'll say, okay, but the person that I'm saying all these words to, that's not what lights their fire. Words don't do it for them. They look at this. There's lots of other ways down the road with this. But here's some reflection questions. How can you give honor better? And I just picked some words from Jesus' example, and I picked these 4 words. You honor better by being thoughtful. Actually think about it. Like a day like Mother's Day. You know, actually, if spend some time before Mother's Day actually thinking about what would be the best way that I can show my mom honor, admiration, respect. Think about it. Be thoughtful. Secondly, be sincere. Thoughtful, sincere. And we've talked about sincerity. Don't go through the motions. Don't be half-hearted. Don't have strings attached. Honor is never about you. It's always about them. It's not about how they react. It's not about how they respond. It's not about if you're rewarded. It's not about what you're expecting to get back out of it. It's always about them. Be sincere. Another option is be verbal. Jesus did this. He was thoughtful. He was sincere. He was verbal. He said it. He didn't assume that his mom knew how he felt. He put it into words and he spoke it out. And then be considerate. Jesus considered his mom. He considered the season of life and the state and the condition that she was in. And he tethered his compassion and his honor to her specific state in life. So be considerate. Another reflection question. Now, this is a probing one because honor can get tricky. Because the truth is, when you're in the role of someone who's giving honor to somebody else, you have expectations too. Expectations enter into the honor exchange all the time. On a day like Mother's Day, moms have expectations. I have volunteers that serve at Echo who have different degrees of expectation when it comes to the honor they expect to receive for what they do. Some people expect to be regularly affirmed and praised and celebrated and focused, and there's nothing wrong with that. And when you fall short of that, they feel a sense of dishonor in their life. Then you have other people who insist, I don't want any honor at all. I don't want any attention. I don't want any praise. I don't want any thanks. That's enough. Both of those things can get to be unhealthy extremes because, like I said, it's like someone who's like hooked up on oxygen to breathe. And when I withhold honor from you that you deserve, it's like I'm stepping on that hose and you're like, I'm not getting the honor that I need to live. And now I'm frantic and I'm bitter and I'm angry and I want you to get off of that hose that you're stepping on. On the flip side, as someone who has a need by God and was designed by God to want to give honor to people that is due, when you try and give honor to somebody and they reject it and they don't receive it, it's like they're stepping on your oxygen hose. Could you imagine shopping for a present for somebody that you care about and wrapping it all up and bringing it to them and surprising them with it, and they open it up and they look at it and they look at you and say, I don't want this, and they hand it right back? How would you feel? As the giver of that gift, who had that gift rejected, you'd be crushed and offended. Can I tell you, when someone tries to give you honor, can you just get over your own stuff and receive it? Can you just say thank you? That means a lot to me. I appreciate that. Because when you reject it out of your own pride or out of your own not wanting to feel, you're really stepping on the oxygen hose of somebody else. You're robbing them of what God told them to do. You're making it more difficult for them to obey the Lord. And you're robbing yourself of something that God designed to make you thrive. So we've got to get better at giving honor. We've got to get better at receiving honor. But the tricky thing is the expectations. We have expectations for how we should be honored. And we have expectations for how the person that we're trying to honor should respond to that. Answer this question. What do you expect to get back for yourself when you give honor away? Now, some of you would say nothing, and that might be right. But if you were in a really safe conversation where you could answer this question honestly, how would you answer it? What do you expect to get back for yourself when you give honor away? Like husbands, what are you expecting to get back? What is your expectation in your mind for how your wife should react to whatever you did or didn't do for Mother's Day? The answers to those questions say a lot about ourselves. And I don't want to get off on a rabbit trail on that, other than to say you need to be aware that you have certain levels of expectations for how your honor that you give should be received and acknowledged. And we also have expectations for how we should be honored. How would you answer this question? Are you adequately honored? In your family, do you feel like your family honors you adequately? What about at your job? Do you feel like your boss or your employees honor you adequately? Pastors, do you feel like your church honors you sufficiently? Understand we all have expectations for how we should be honored, and some of them are completely unrealistic. But also understand God designed us. You read through the Bible, God designed people to need certain amounts of honor in order to thrive and to live and to be with a sense of fullness and satisfaction. And the mechanism by which he feeds that is through one another. And so we're all supposed to be part of this exchange of giving honor and receiving honor and giving honor and receiving honor. And the Bible spells out for us the different people that we should be focused on in giving honor. How do you get more honor then? If you feel like you're living with a deficit of honor, how do you get more honor? I'm going to leave you with this. 2 words. If you get nothing else, lean into this, okay? How do you set yourself up to receive more honor? Another way of saying that, how do you make it easier for your kids to obey God by honoring you? How do you make it easier for your church to feel a deep sense of respect and honor for you in order that those actions come easily? How do husbands read? It's 2 words, and we read them to you earlier. They're in Hebrews. Here's the way you get more honor. Live honorably. Live honorably. What do I mean by that? Live in such a way that you make it easy for people to respect you. Live honorably. Live respectfully. Questions to ask yourself before you make a decision or fly off the handle. Is this honorable? Is what I'm about to do respectable? Are my motives able to be esteemed highly? If you want to receive honor, then live honorably. That's what their prayer was in Hebrews. We pray that our conscience is clear and we live honorably in every way. Now, I need to give you one caveat. There's no guarantee that if you live honorably that you're going to get honor in return. There's no guarantee that if you live respectfully, you're going to get the respect you deserve. In fact, some of you might be watching this today saying, I know you're saying that I should honor my leaders. I should honor my parents. I should honor my dad. But you don't know the history. They're not honorable. They're just not respectful. They've hurt me deeply. If life were fair, we'd all get what we deserve all the time if life was fair. If life was fair, you would get all of the honor that you deserve. If life were fair, then when you live respectfully and honorably, you'd get the respect and the honor heaped back on you. But the truth is, you and I know this, life isn't fair. You're not always going to get what you deserve. And some of you today are probably hurting because you're not getting the respect and the honor you truly deserve. In fact, many times in life, you get what you don't deserve. And that's what unfair is. We don't always get what we deserve, and sometimes we get what we don't deserve. That's what makes life unfair. And that's what makes a conversation about honor difficult, is that sometimes we're called to honor, give people honor that we feel they don't deserve. And that's hard for us. And we feel like that's not right. We shouldn't have to do that. On the flip side, there's times where we feel dishonored and we say, I've lived honorably and respectfully. And these people in my life that God's put in my circle to give me honor and respect, they're not giving it to me. That's not fair. And that can drive you mad until you say, I'm glad life isn't fair. Because if life were fair, I'd get everything I deserve. And that means when I stand before God the Father one day, I would get what I deserve. And what I deserve is death. I don't deserve forgiveness. I don't deserve grace. I don't deserve mercy. But isn't it wonderful news that life isn't fair? Isn't it wonderful? See, there's nothing fair that an innocent man named Jesus had to hang on the cross and die in front of his mom for your sins and my sins. He didn't deserve that. What did Jesus do to deserve that? He didn't deserve that. And who gets from that? You know what we get from that? We get grace. We get salvation. We get forgiveness. We don't deserve that. And because life isn't fair, we get salvation and grace and mercy that we don't deserve. And we don't get death and separation from God, which we do deserve. So if you find it hard to respect and honor people that have done you wrong, and you can't give them something you feel they don't deserve, look at the cross and that'll help you. Look at the cross, and when Jesus gave out something we didn't deserve out of love, maybe it'll help you find it within your heart to give some measure of respect and honor to people, even when you don't think that that's right. And on the other end, if you feel like, man, I get the short end of the stick and I don't get all the respect and the honor and grace that I do deserve, look at the cross. And there's a man who said, for love of people, I'll take on me. I'll live without the respect and the honor that I deserve I'll take on myself something that wasn't meant for me in order that someone else can have salvation and freedom. That's what I see represented on the cross. And that's why I'm okay with life not being fair, because it was unfair to Jesus. And I benefit from that unfairness. And life is fair in its unfairness. If you'd like to begin a relationship with Jesus today, I want to pray with you right now. Let me pray for you. Heavenly Father, I come to you right now in the matchless name of your son, Jesus, who hung on the cross and died for us. And Jesus, thank you for providing us an example in your dying hour of how to honor your mom, how to honor women, to be thoughtful, sincere, appreciative, considerate. Help us to put those things in our heart today. But Lord, I pray for that one that might be watching today who needs to find salvation and forgiveness. They're aware that they owe a great debt against you because of their sin, and they want to find forgiveness and grace and mercy. Friend, if that's you, I want to lead you in a simple prayer right now. It's a prayer of confession that just simply says, Jesus, I admit that I'm a sinner. I've done you wrong. I've been living life my own way, by my own sense of right and wrong. And I need to be rescued and forgiven from my sins. So I confess to you that I believe in you, Jesus. You're God's son. You lived a sinless life. You died on the cross as my substitute in my place. And you paid off my debt to your Father. And I believe that, God, you accepted your son's payment because you brought Jesus back to life as our receipt that you accepted his payment in full. So I simply receive the payment of your sin, of your blood, Jesus, over my account. Thank you for forgiving me. I receive your forgiveness today. I invite you to come and live inside of me. I choose you as my Lord and my ultimate leader, and I look forward to following you and becoming more like you all the days of my life. Father, for all of us, help us to be better in this idea and activity of honoring the people in our life that we ought to honor. And when we struggle, remind us to live honorably ourselves and to embrace and celebrate the idea that's life not fair. And when we find it's difficult, we're going to look at the cross and follow Jesus' example. And in that way, we'll be more of your echo, Christ. In your name we pray. Amen. So reminder, 11 o'clock, 8 minutes from now, prayer team is going to be available to you to be able to pray with you one-on-one today for anything that you'd like. We are putting together a big outreach to all of our frontline workers. Our team of pastors has been connecting with, we have, I forget, James could tell you the number. I want to say somewhere between 30 and 35 people that we know of at Echo that are working on the front lines right now in all different capacities. We have reached out to them and have heard back from many of you. We've been asking, hey, we're thinking of you, we're praying for you. What can our church do to help you right now? All of them said, please pray for us. And so we're putting together a way that we as a church can pray for all of our people by name, at least by first name, that are serving on the front lines. We've also found out a few of the places that our workers are working would welcome some like mega care baskets from us. And so our pastors, thanks to your generosity, we're building out these awesome, massive care packages to send into teams of doctors and nurses and therapists and workers and EMTs that are serving on the front line, social workers that are serving with COVID patients. And so they let us know the stuff that their team would like. And so we are building out these mega care boxes thanks to your generosity. And we'll get some pictures of the boxes. It's not a photo op, but we just want you to see where these things are going. We're going to be delivering those care boxes to the doorsteps, no contact, to the doorsteps of some of our nurses and doctors and frontline workers to take those boxes into their team to let them know that our church is praying for them. We're putting together posters that they can hang up in their break rooms just to know we're praying for them, that we celebrate them, we care about them. So we've been working hard on that this last week, and we wouldn't be able to do that if you hadn't been generous. I told you, your giving has blown us away. April, once again, we made budget, and since we cut some of our expenses back, we have a little bit of a surplus. We want to turn around and get that to different groups of people that might need it or just appreciate it right now. And so we're going to keep you in the loop as we do that. It's not something we can all go physically and do, but all of them, even if some of these groups are well taken care of, lots of groups are sending them food. Other groups have kind of been forgotten about. So we're trying to get to the ones that have been, maybe just missed and things, and putting together all kinds of stuff that they appreciate. And so thank you for all of you who are working on the front lines, putting your life you put your life at risk every day, but it's an extra risk an extra inconvenience right now. We are here for you. We want to celebrate you. I already gave you a construction update. Just a reminder, thank you for continuing to be faithful in your giving. If you'd like to worship God in your giving today or this week, you can send a check in the mail, 9510 Bel Air Road, Nottingham, Maryland, 21236. You can slip it in an envelope under the door. And again, thank you for those of you that are giving digitally. I'm blown away by how many of you, even though it's a little uncomfortable for some of you that don't do digital giving, last week was just overwhelmed by your faithfulness and giving. You can go to echochurchonline.com/give, and it'll give you simple instructions on how you can worship God in your giving that way. So I went a little long today. I apologize. We'll cut it back. I know I need to keep these to 20 minutes or so, but had a lot to say about the topic of honor today, and I know it's a long time to look at a computer screen, so we'll work on that for next week. But wanted to get that all out for you today. You might need to go back and watch it later if you got a little distracted this morning, but love you. We're thinking about you. We're praying for you. Don't forget to connect with our prayer team today, and we'll see you again next Sunday. Happy Mother's Day, and I hope you have a wonderful afternoon, and we'll talk to you again in just a few days.